Hello, everyone. And with me today, I've got Bernhard Hufenbach, who is the Commercialization and Innovation Team Leader in the Directorate of Human Spaceflight and Robotic Exploration. So hello, Bernhard. You're quite busy at the moment.
Hello.
Let's talk about Space for Inspiration. It's been going on since the first event in 2016. This is a very, very special year. What is Space for Inspiration and what makes it distinctive?
Space for Inspiration is our flagship event on commercialization and exploration. And indeed, our first event took place in 2016. What is unique about the event is that we focus very much on ecosystem building. It means we are trying to bring together stakeholders from various sectors, from the established companies, academia, entrepreneurs, investors, and institutional actors. And ultimately, the event is about building new partnerships to grow the ecosystem and make it more effective and stronger for the future.
And so then in that decade, if we reflect upon it, the scene across exploration and commercialization, that landscape has changed immensely. Talk us through what you've witnessed.
I think in the last 10 years, we have observed a dramatic change. Firstly, on the European side, we transformed from a single exploration destination, the International Space Station, to multiple destinations. Now it includes low Earth orbit, automated and future crewed platforms, the moon surface, and Mars. In the last 10 years, we also have seen a significant increase in global investment. I think they nearly doubled in 10 years, which is remarkable. Agencies in general use new types of procurement. So in the past, we have had a traditional procurement model where ESA owned and delivered missions procured from space industry. Nowadays, we transition more and more to service procurement models, which is quite new for us still. When you look at ESA overall, there's more and more focus on commercialization, not just in the field of exploration, but also in particular in other areas. And because of this new focus on commercialization, the industrial landscape is changing. We see more and more new types of companies are emerging, which have a particular technology or service focus.
And then every year also you have a theme, you reflect upon what is going on, and you've just mentioned some of the huge changes. What for 2026 is the central objective?
Our theme for this year is about scaling, research and production in space. And what does it really mean, scaling? I think we've seen in the past the delivery of single experiments, for example, on board the International Space Station, or the delivery of a single science-driven mission. Now, if we want to go to more commercial activities, we need to transform this into repeatable, commercial and investable activities. And therefore, the event will talk a lot about the drivers and barriers for scaling. And there are many drivers, but also many barriers. We will talk about the role of ESA in enabling scaling, but also of all the other stakeholders, in particular the entrepreneurs, the investors, but also other institutional actors in Europe. And our ambition in ESA is to use the output from this event to develop a market scaling plan we can deliver in the next 5 years.
So there's a great plan ahead. Now, again, looking more closely to the markets, in which BSGN markets does Europe have the strongest potential for global leadership?
I think there are 3 markets where Europe is really part of a global leadership: health and life science, construction, advanced materials, and also agri-food. These are really extremely large markets, and Europe is one of the top 1 or 2, 3 players globally in these markets. If you look at the health market alone, Europe invests 60 billion annually in R&D, which is a lot. If you look at the turnover of the agri-food market, is about 1.5 trillion. So these are immensely large markets, and Europe has also very strong academic network and very strong industrial leaders in these 3 markets. So they are really markets which are already today very important for the terrestrial economy. Another market we're trying to push is the market of space resources. That's quite different. That's not a non-existing market, but space resources will become extremely important and critical to sustain deep space exploration in the future. So this market today is mainly driven by institutional investments. So in short, I think if we look at the market potential we see in this non-space markets downstream, I think there's a great potential for European market leadership if we bridge a gap between space and these other sectors.
And then thinking about that scalability to commercial success, What do you believe is required to convert these strengths that Europe has potentially into the scalable commercial success?
Well, we know today from more than 30 years research in space that there are plenty of opportunities, but they're not today accessible. So firstly, we need to focus. We need to focus on some high-value use cases with clear customer demand and demonstrate success and breakthroughs. Then today we also see we're at the end of the ISS lifetime, and we see it's hard to get your experiment into space. So we need to ensure that we in future have frequent and affordable access to space. Today it's a bottleneck. In general, as I mentioned earlier, the potential lies with the terrestrial customer industries. They're today only partially engaged, so we need to get them more engaged, build partnerships. And then if we think about commercialization, we always need to think about a value chain. So there is a long value chain from doing research to selling something. And I think we need to think end-to-end about the value chain and develop actors along the whole value chain. It's not all the task for ESA, but ESA can help. And on ESA's side, of course, there's an opportunity for ESA to do more. ESA can act as a partner to secure access to space, in particular stimulate the emergence of a new group of operators who can provide low-cost access to space. We can act as an anchor customer for new services to de-risk it at the beginning. And already we're doing it, we can be an enabler of supporting the demonstration of new use cases of relevance for these terrestrial target markets.
And then all of this potential, it sounds super exciting on the side of the Europeans who might work there. It requires appetite and confidence. So do you see sufficient appetite and confidence from Europe to compete in the very strongly emerging LEO and lunar economies?
Yes, in part. I think observing how the ecosystem has evolved throughout the last 10 years, I see a very strong appetite for entrepreneurs, small companies, and the more research-driven ventures. They're really actively engaged, and the ambition and commitment of the management teams is really impressive. We have seen more and more startups actually engaging in this field. There are new type of companies emerging, like space biotech companies, something which didn't exist 2 years ago. But then when you look at the larger, well-established companies or the investors at large, I think they're still very cautious because we haven't seen real breakthroughs. We haven't seen scalable products in space. That's in part because today, as I said earlier, we lack frequent low-cost access to space, but also we still need to secure stronger demand signals from the established big players in the various target markets we're trying to develop.
And that's where BSGN comes in, because you're so great at helping to develop the ecosystem and move that ecosystem from the ambition, from those seed ideas, all the way up to market development.
Yeah, I think ESA in general and BSGN, we're already doing quite a lot. Firstly, Space for Inspiration is really our flagship event, where we try to help building, growing, and connecting the new ecosystem. And if I compare again the level of participation today and 10 years ago, it's non-comparable in terms of quality and size of the ecosystem. We are running innovation challenges from time to time, primarily targeting the academic sector. And then based from this, we see the creation of new ventures. So we're bridging academia and startups. We have in ESA a very wide network of business incubation centers, which help these startups and ventures to be established and matured. Then we have the so-called BSGN industry accelerators, which can really help to support new use cases serving the downstream sector. In general, ESA has now a very well-established commercial program, which also supports transactions between new commercial operators and customers in the market, and thereby enable early market growth. And we use since quite some time the tool of so-called commercial or public-private partnerships, which enable new services to be introduced to the market. Taking all this together, it's already pretty good, but it's probably not enough. ESA could always do more. I think what we see today, that we have still a gap from demonstrating a new case or new service to making it an investable business case. So I think more work is needed to lower the cost of accessing space and guaranteeing access to space, and also working with the non-space established players to create a clearer demand signal to make these activities more investable, also from a private sector point of view.
And then if we look to the organization's point of view, the business point of view, why should they participate in Space for Inspiration 2026?
I think there are three core value propositions to attend this event. Firstly, you get insight into the future direction of ESA in these fields, but even more, you get an opportunity to shape it. As I said, we want to develop a scaling plan. This is your great opportunity to provide your input, your feedback to making this as effective as possible. Each company has ample opportunities to promote their service and products to the ecosystem using pitches, workshops, as well as the exhibition space. And I think the most tangible output, which has already been demonstrated to past conferences, is that the participants create new connections, which often creates a basis for building long-term sustainable partnerships.
So that's where the networking also comes into play. And so the event, it could have broad participation, and hopefully that broad participation can be turned into concrete partnerships and investment opportunities. So adding on the financial element to that networking.
Yeah, I think what's interesting also that in this event, we often see that new entrants introduce themselves for the first time in this event to the ecosystem. And they do that through pitches, sometimes attending the panels. So it's a great opportunity to early on establish a relationship to some of the new entrants. We have some specific workshops we organize also on behalf of our conference partners, which are specifically aimed at seeking for and building partnerships. So these are very concrete hands-on workshops. And then, of course, we have this year a large exhibition and networking area, which is probably the best place to meet new players and again, as I said earlier, establish a foundation for building partnerships in the future.
And then any final closing thoughts, a closing message for anybody watching?
Yeah, I think as exploration is accelerated in general, I mentioned earlier, doubling of investments. It is a very political topic right now. There are more and more opportunities for engagement created, not just for space players, but the industry at large. And I think if we manage to grow these markets we're discussing at the event, it will really help to drive innovation in Europe, but also strengthening the overall economic impact of the institutional investment in space exploration, thereby making it more relevant and sustainable also in long term. So Europe is the global player in these relevant downstream markets. Europe is maybe stronger in some of these downstream markets than we are today on the space side. Therefore, it's critical, I think, that we bridge the gap between space and non-space sectors, and that will allow potentially Europe to become the global leader in using space for developing new applications for health, agri-food, construction, and the use of resources.
That's a wonderful way to end. Bernhard, thank you so much for your time, for your constant enthusiasm, and for developing and making this ecosystem grow so robust and increasingly strong across Europe. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you in Copenhagen.
Thank you so much for your time.